So yeah, hopefully I have enough. I'm going to tell myself that I have enough and it's going to be fine. Hi everyone, welcome to Fiber Dragon, episode 22. My name is Jessica. I'm also known as Ezekial Dragon here on Ravelry, and I like to talk about my knitting, sometimes my crocheting, now my cross stitch, and also my tabletop gaming. So let's get into the good stuff. My first work in progress is my Mermaid blanket. This pattern is by Angie Hartley, and it has been on my needles for 17 days. And this one's going to get very difficult to show. So it is very long, but eventually you seam it up, not all the way, so it's kind of like a lapgan, and you seam it up part way and use it that way. So it's a pretty good size like that. You'll see here is my progress keeper. So let's, oh, my notes almost fell out of my lap. We'll flip it as if I'm knitting. And that is how much progress I made, which I think is pretty darn good. I did take this, I often, not always, but often get to go to a knitting group on Thursdays. And I took this with me and worked on it exclusively. I will say the pattern is very easy to memorize once you get into it and get going, but when you get chatting, it is also very easy to mess up. So I think I had done 3 rows before I realized I had made a mistake and had to back it all up. So I spent most of the time redoing what I had messed up while I was there, but it's fine. Progress is progress, right? One thing that I was very excited about, so this is a lot of pinks and purples, and there is just one tiny section of blue, and I was excited to finally get into it. I think it looks great, and I think this is giving fabulous mermaid vibes. Look at those beautiful scales. Let's see, what can I tell you about this? This has been on my blanket for 17 days. I think I already mentioned that. I did use, I'm using Yarn Bee Sugarwheel Cotton Sparkle in the colorways Let It Go Flamingo and Twirls at Twilight. So I think some videos you've been able to see the sparkle really well, but this one is just not coming through, and that's okay. It's very sparkly, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, this is going to be a long-term blanket project, and I'm enjoying it. It's not mindless knitting. I'm just moving the progress keeper. It's not mindless knitting, but it is easy knitting, so that's nice. All right, put the progress keeper back on for my red bellied snake by JoJo's Art Studio. Where's he at? There he is. I don't know. Anyway, I'm loving this project still. It's a lot of fun. I'm loving who I'm making it for. It's just going to be a while. I am almost through the first set of skeins because I believe I told you I'm holding 2 yarns double. And I'm almost through the first set of skeins, so that's how far I've gotten. So yeah. Hopefully I have enough. I'm going to tell myself that I have enough and it's going to be fine. And if not, I guess the tail will be different and it will be exciting in its own special way. I think that's all I really have to say about this. So yeah, I'm excited to keep working on that. I will actually work on this quite a bit more today, in fact. I am actually recording this a day later than normal, just because I wanted to finish a project yesterday, but we'll get to that. Okay, next thing, my work in progress is my Brunette Nephew's Musselburgh hat. The pattern is by Ysolda Teague, and this has been on my needles for 8 days now. Ooh, I was just about to drop a stitch. Wouldn't be an episode without a drop stitch. So this one does not, oh, I'm showing you the wrong way. This one does not have a progress keeper because I had barely cast on any stitches last time you saw it. I have now officially made it through the increases and I'm just knitting in the rounds now. And if you have not heard of the Ysolda Teague pattern, it is just a long tube and you do increases at the beginning and then you do decreases at the end, and it folds in itself to make a nice warm cozy several layered hat. I'm using currently the yarn VK Yarns in the color Red Bellied Snake, and I've noticed that the colors, so I made socks out of these, and while the colors do show through a little bit on the socks, I think the size of them is so small that they just don't feel as noticeable. And the dark reds, almost purples, come out much better in this larger piece. Now with the light that I have, this light color is showing quite well, but in person you can see it, but it's not quite as noticeable as it's showing up on camera. But the reds show up. They are subtle as well, but they show up really well in person. So I just think that's really neat how the different project has changed how the yarn is presenting itself. It could also be that I'm in a different part of the skein and the modeling is just more prolific, but I'm not sure. I really don't know what that is. So we celebrated a birthday recently and I took this with me as we were going through celebrating birthday things. So I think that's why I got so much work on it done, because we had a little bit more travel adult hangout time. And I have been taking it like on morning walks to school. There have still been a few, because it is spring, there has still been a few days where it's too cold to knit. And so I can't knit on it every day. But I do get, you know, a couple rounds in every day, and progress is progress. So there was no keeper on it, so I probably should put one on. That being said, I think I have lost my Terry, my Mantis Shrimp Progress Keeper, which was my favorite one. Oh no, I'm hoping he's on a project somewhere in my closet and I've just forgotten that I put him on there. But I'm really worried that I've lost him. He was my favorite. But my second favorite, I think, is my blue ringed octopus. I also love my poison dart. Choices, choices, choices. I think this is silly that I'm sitting here debating this on camera. Okay, I'm just gonna put the blue ringed octopus on. I've been in an octopus mood lately. We will put that on. I'm gonna put it just a couple stitches back because so that way it doesn't mess with my tension. Who knew that Progress Keeper attachment was such an involved process? Not me. All right, Progress Keeper attached. So yes, birthday knitting, and I did start to wonder as I am knitting through this if I am going to have enough yarn. Although I look at this when I'm holding it and I'm like, obviously I have plenty. So this is the problem with stash knitting, is I start to get concerned, but this is why I have so much stash, is because I do this. I get concerned that I won't have enough, I go and buy more, and then I have way too much. So I'm going to trust that I have enough and I will just keep knitting. And just keep knitting, just keep knitting. So that's my plans with that. I think I'll be okay. I think it's just my brain going, oh no, it's not going to work out, when it really will. It will all work out just fine. So yeah, I made good progress on that. So that's all my knitting for this week. Up next is my cross stitch, and this is a finished object. Ta-da! I have learned in the world of cross stitch there is such a thing called a finished object and a fully finished object. And a fully finished object means you have like put it in its final form, whether that's going to be a pillow, a bag, a framed picture, or whatever. And a finished object means you've finished cross stitching it. So I am in a finished object mode with Octopus by Stitching Jules Designs. I'm going to put this in front of my face so you can see it. I worked on this for 45 days. Now let me show you. Here was where I was last time, and I'll let you have that for just a second. I am doing this in Cottage Garden Threads and Ezekial, and I'm using Aida 14 Count Emerald by the Sea by Barefoot Needle Arts is the fabric. It is hand dyed, and it's done. Excuse me. We're in full-blown allergy season for me right now, so you'll have to excuse me. It's bad. Okay, so anyway, I absolutely am in love with this piece. I cannot get enough of it. What I did learn is different dye lots is a real problem, especially with hand-dyed things. So I don't know if it's going to show up very well, but there is, and I could not get the same dye lot. There was not enough thread. I didn't realize it at the time, but it's fine. So within the mantle, there is a line where the dark browns are actually a darker brown. And it's all going to be on this side of the octopus where the dark browns are darker. I think you can kind of see it. My justification for the whole thing is, you know what? It's just different lighting. The sun is shining from this direction, so this side is a little bit more shadowy. You know what I'm saying? It's fine. So different dye lots are real. They're a real problem, but sometimes you just accept it and move on in life. I still love the piece. Another thing that I noticed, so when you're stitching something, you spend a lot of time in the details that you don't necessarily notice when you're looking at the general picture. And I was stitching this final area, so this was my last area, was just down here. And I went, that's weird. I think this octopus has 9 arms. I think, and I do not know this for sure, so you don't quote me on it, I believe the designer uses AI art. And I did not notice, I swear I thought I counted originally. I didn't want to use AI art. I want to support small businesses, but so here's the thing. I love the piece still, and I will love it always. I'm still going to frame it and hang it up. I worked very hard on it, but I'm pretty sure it has 9 arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then we've got 1 down here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe they're just curling around in a way and it looks like 9, right? Like, I still love it. I'm not mad that I made it and I'm going to hang it, but I'm pretty sure he's got 9 arms. You know what? I think octopi are aliens anyway. This one's just an extra special one. What can I say? Because I love him. He's stunning. So if it is AR that made it, congratulations, you made a beautiful 9-armed octopus. If not, I'm just not seeing it. Something in the way they're lining up makes it look like it's 9. I don't mind. So my next process in this is, so normally, apparently with cross stitch, you wash it, iron it, and then you do stuff with it. My fabric, because, oops, now it's upside down. My fabric, because it is hand dyed, is not color fast apparently. So if I wash it, it is going to bleed. So I don't think I'm going to end up washing it. I may iron it, but I'm just going to cool iron it because the hand-dyed threads say do not, it's cotton, so if I do it too warm, it will shrink. So this is a very complicated little piece apparently. Luckily, I think it'll be okay. If they just pull it taut a little bit in the framing, it's going to be just fine. So there he is. I'm very proud of him. What is that? Oh, that's just a little spot. Okay. And away he goes. Now that does mean that I get to start my new project. So let me show you first the fabric. So the fabric is dyed by Barefoot Needle Arts again. I went back to my local needle shop. And this is 28 count even weave. So I'm going from a very easy stitch to a very difficult one. And the holes are much smaller. This colorway is called Antique Rose, I believe. No, sorry, Vintage Rose. So it is a pale lilac color, very almost off-white with a, you know, purplish hint. And then there's little barely splotches of pink. This is like the darkest one on here. So, and if my calculations are correct, let's remember I'm terrible at math, it will be about the size of this piece of fabric with 3-inch margins on each side. So this is going to be a huge piece. Originally it was supposed to be on 25 count, but they did not have any 25 count that wasn't pre-gridded at the store when I went shopping. And I decided 28 count would be fine. But I think it's going to be about the size of that fabric. So this is a long haul project, and I'm going to be doing 1/1, which means one piece of thread over one stitch, which I can't put it close to you because the camera doesn't focus on it. Yeah, it's just a blurry mess. It's tiny. It's going to be tiny. So normally when I would do a project like this, I would want to, my inclination is to start in the top left corner because of how I stitch and work my way down to the bottom right corner. Not necessarily straight diagonals, but kind of meandering around where the colors take me. However, this piece has a so it's not full coverage, but it's, I don't even know what they consider it. It is full coverage for what you stitch, but there is no background. So the bottom is fully covered, and it kind of like gets lighter up near the top as the characters take the space. So I'm going to show you the piece here, and it's called Curiosity, and it's by Amy Brown, I hope. So this is what I'm going to be working on for the foreseeable future. So progress will look slow, but I'm so excited to start this. It's a dragon, it's a fairy, and it's going to be amazing. So that's my cross-stitch plans. As far as gaming goes, we finished Tomb of Annihilation. So our Sunday game, we had our big final episode where I play Galaith the Barbarian, and it was an epic final battle? Question mark? So one of our players was very clever and has lugged this huge mirror on their character, like they accounted for the weight and everything, through this dungeon. And we get to the big bad guy, and they show the mirror. And the mirror, I think I remember telling you guys about this. At one point, my character got sucked into the mirror. Well, that can happen to anybody. So the DM rolled, and their character made the save, and then the person that played Walter cast Silvery Barbs, which meant the DM had to roll again and take the new roll. So the DM rolled again and got a natural 1. So the weird boss baby that we came across at the end, it was very weird, got sucked into the mirror before we even started fighting. So then, like, our characters had these old ancient gods kind of helping and hindering them in certain ways. And we learned that these skeletons were going to come to life, so they pushed all the skeleton bones into the hot lava pit or whatever it was. And so we didn't have to fight any of them. And then there were these tentacles, but those were like the easiest part to fight. I think Galaith maybe got 1 hit on something. Maybe? I can't remember. I feel like the final battle, she didn't even get a turn. Like, I know we rolled initiative, and I feel like she didn't even get a turn in the epic final battle. Maybe she got 1 hit in, but I don't think so. So, and then the DM told us later, like, we kind of finished it up and wrapped everything up. Destroyed the soulmonger. That is one thing that she did hit. She got to hit the soulmonger. So she helped destroy the soulmonger, and we saved the world. Now everyone is not doomed to permanent death anymore, I guess. And it was just, it was entertaining and it was funny. I'm glad that the DM allowed something so silly to happen for the epic final battle, because some wouldn't. So it was fun, and apparently somehow there is a chance that you run into a Serac, which is a big boss, and somehow we skipped it. I don't know how, he didn't explain. There was a trigger for it, and we didn't trigger it. So maybe it was hitting the weird boss baby. I don't know. Whatever it was, we missed it, and we just went about our merry day. So a Serac might still be in the world to cause later havoc. You're welcome. And then, so now we're going to be starting a new campaign. It is a homebrew world of Mans. He is going to be the DM, and we will be, by the time you see this, we will actually have started it, but I don't know exactly what my character is yet. I did start making one. I've named her Charmaine Smithy. She is either going to be a bard or a fighter, kind of depending on what the party ends up needing. And the only thing I know about her is she is a human, and her father was a smithy. So he helped forge weapons. So that is all I know about her right now. And then as far as let me try again. As far as Bloodlords goes, we did have a game. We fought another hag, and this time she was a little bit, you know, she wore her fancy red dress and she was a little bit saucy, and so the person who plays the skeleton, who he is this ancient skeleton apparently, we say he gets older every episode. He tried to romance her, and it just wasn't working. He tried so hard. It just never worked out. Poor old skeleton. So it was entertaining for me. I thought it was hilarious. We ended up defeating her. This is where I play Brexa Craft, the ghost. She didn't have any really epic moments. I just kind of sat back and watched this epic fail at romance happen. And it was very entertaining. So if you get a chance to watch it, I would say watch it because it's funny. I will put the links for both of those down in the description below, and you are welcome to watch those at any time. Don't have any Tomb of it, or why do I keep doing that? We don't have any Bloodlords games this week. We should have our new, I don't know what to call it. I think the world he sets it in is called, he called it Tinsadrin? Something like that. I'll find out. But we should have the Tinsadrin, the D&D game on Sunday, but we do not have any Pathfinder this week. As far as what am I watching, not much. I did watch Interstellar, which, okay, everything I've been watching is really old that I just didn't have time to watch, apparently, when they all came out. So I think it may have been when my kids were young. I don't know what the case is, but this has Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway in it. It was good. It was a space time travel type of movie, and some of it, I remember very distinctly at one point going, how do they take themselves seriously when they're given these lines? But I did like the movie. It was good. It was good. It has a lot of famous people in it and some really good acting, so you can't be mad at that. Is it predictable? Yes. So I'll leave it at that. And then I'm not done with it yet, but I am watching the new to me, but not really new anymore, Ghostbusters movie. Frozen something, Ice something, I don't remember what it's called. And that one has Paul Rudd in it, and oh no. The kid, he's in Stranger Things. He's not a kid anymore, he's an adult. Anyway, it's also got some other people in it, and I think it has, all the original Ghostbusters that are still alive are also still in it, so I think that's great. So it's a lot of fun. It's very silly, and they don't take themselves seriously, and I enjoy that very much. So that's what I've been watching. I will hopefully finish that movie sometime this week, and yeah. That's about it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. I appreciate getting to talk with you in comments and seeing you guys do your own things too. So yeah, thank you so much. I've had a great time. Happy gaming, happy crafting, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.